Coordination, in its simplest definition, is the organization of different elements of a complex body or activities so as to enable them to work together effectively. This simple definition can also be applied to intersections within an arteriole or corridor. In a previous video, I showed you how to group intersections together within configurations. Now we must organize them in a way to work together effectively. This video covers the method we use to define how vehicles progress through a continuous series of intersections. Once you have defined how the intersections are linked together, you can then go on to define global and local optimizer settings, along with digital state parameters for each intersection. So let's start where we ended in a previous video and open up the West Des Moines 4 Devices Management Group. Okay, we're going to go ahead and select the Configurations tab. As you can see, we have 4 configurations here that we set up in the last tutorial. But we have not defined the progression of vehicles between these intersections. Let's set that up right now by selecting the PMP configuration from the list. I'll then go ahead and select the Coordination tab right here. Now, since there is no coordination set up, this Define Coordination tab automatically displays. The first thing I want to do is set the starting intersection and phase from which traffic originates in one direction. In this instance, I want to define coordination for traffic traveling north. I'll do that by clicking the southernmost intersection on the map right here. Notice that this intersection pops up to the top of the list on the left side over here. I'll then select the phase arrow that represents the direction of traffic flow for that intersection in this list box. I'll then click on each intersection in the order of progression for traffic. Notice how, as I select an intersection, the intersection I select is placed at the top of the list on the left side. The appropriate phase arrow is also highlighted. I'll keep selecting intersections until I select the last one in the coordination. I'll then select Add Segment at the bottom of this list box to add this coordination segment. Now, let's look a little bit closer at the phase arrows on the left side. Notice that the phases I selected for the last coordination have semicircles on the phase arrows. The starting intersection in this coordination group contains a semicircle at the top of the phase arrow, while the ending intersection in the coordination group contains a semicircle at the bottom of the phase arrow. All intersections that lie between the starting and ending intersection within the coordination have a semicircle at the top and bottom of their phase arrows. Also, let's look at these icons to the right of each intersection name right here. These icons are used to zoom in and out of the intersection on the map. Clicking on the bottom icon right here centers the selected intersection on the map. Clicking on the top icon right here zooms out to show all the intersections. You can also zoom out to see all intersections on the map by clicking this View All Intersections link at the top of the map right here. So now that we have coordination defined for traffic going in the northbound direction, I want to define that the intersections be coordinated for traffic going southbound. So I'll click the northernmost intersection up here. Again, the intersection displays at the top of the list. I'll then select the phase arrow indicating the southbound direction. And then I'll select each intersection in succession of how traffic will flow. When I get to the final intersection in the coordination group, I'll select it and then click Add Segment. Now, if you click on the Current Coordination tab, you'll see that there are two coordination groups. Clicking on the group expands the group out to show each intersection segment. You can also further define what the average speed is between each intersection. The default is 35 miles per hour, but you can customize it to what the actual speed limit is at the intersection. Clicking the icon to the right of the intersection segment enlarges the view of the intersection on the map to the right, while clicking the icon on the top right side of the coordination group, right here, shows all the intersections within the coordination group. You can also remove an intersection segment within the coordination group by selecting the checkbox to the left of the segment and clicking Remove at the bottom. Now, when you do this, the intersection segment, along with all the intersections that follow downstream within the traffic flow, are removed from the coordination group. Besides using the coordination path to indicate how traffic flows between intersections, InTraffic also uses the coordination path to calculate the distance between intersections. As you can see, the current coordination that I've set up here follows a very straight line, but not all roadways follow a straight line. So you'll need to make sure the coordination path mimics the curve of the roadway. Let's go ahead and show you how to do that. First off, let's go back to the Management Group page to select the West Des Moines Coordination Group's Management Group. I'm going to add a few new intersections to this management group. So I'll go ahead and I'll select the InSync icon up here, and I'm going to place it at 28th Street and Westtown Parkway. I'll then drag the map over to the east side, over to 73rd Street and what is now known as Buffalo Road over here. I'll place an InSync processor at this intersection. So we now have two crossing roadways. As you can see, one of the roadways follows a curve. I'll go ahead and just save these and leave everything as default with no pedestrian crossings. The next step I need to do is to add these intersections into the configuration. So I'll go ahead and select Configurations, and I will add these intersections to the PM118 weekday configuration. As you can see, the other intersections are already included in this configuration. So I'm going to add these new ones by clicking the checkboxes next to the two new intersections. I'll then click Save. Next, I will click the Coordination tab. Since there has already been a coordination group defined for this configuration, the current Coordination tab automatically displays. I want to add a cross coordination with the two new intersections that I've added. So I'm going to select the Define Coordination tab at the top. I'll then select the 28th and Westtown Parkway intersection on the map. Then I'll select the phase arrow that represents eastbound traffic. Then I'll select this 22nd and Westtown Parkway intersection, and then the Buffalo Road and 73rd intersection. I'll then click Add Segment. So what we get is a straight line between each intersection, but this road has curves in it, making it longer than what is indicated by the straight lines. I need to match the coordination path to the actual roadway. To do that, I'll zoom into the roadway segment, and I'll double-click on the coordination path. And as you can see, this little black box displays on the line. I can then click and drag what I call this handlebar to a location on the roadway. I'll keep double-clicking on the path to create these handlebars, and then I'll match the coordination path to the roadway curve. I'll keep doing this for both segments. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, but we do want the coordination path to mimic the same path as the highway to get a fairly accurate distance. I'll then do this for the opposite direction by clicking the Buffalo Road and 73rd Street intersection. I'll then select the westbound phase arrow, and then select each intersection in order of progression. Again, I need to modify the coordination path to match the roadway shape. So I'll go ahead and I'll double click and zoom in. I'm going to do that here. I'll keep doing it. There, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to click Save. A quick look by clicking the Current Coordination tab shows that I now have 4 coordination groups defined for this configuration. I can then click on the coordination flow icon to show the direction of progression for each coordination group. With these coordination groups, we can now optimize the progression of vehicle platoons on a global level, which is covered in the next video.